Now we're going to look at some top tips and tricks to help you score the highest band score possible in IELTS listening. I'm going to share with you 5 super top tips, and I'm sure that they will help you get the highest band score on the day of your test. My first super top tip is to complete as many practice tests as you can. I do strongly believe that with the IELTS listening section of the test, the more practice tests you do, the easier you will find it on the day of your test. Now you can find these tests by simply searching online with a phrase like IELTS listening practice tests. As you can see, I've also got the British Council logo here on this slide. Now, the British Council has some excellent learning resources for IELTS and English. If you simply search British Council IELTS listening practice tests, you'll find links to online tests using great quality audio that you can use. As well as that, in a couple of lessons' time, we're going to start our own IELTS 7+ listening tests. Make sure you do complete all of those. And remember, you don't have to take the lesson only once. You can repeat it as many times as you need until you feel confident. So let's move on to top tip number 2, which is British English. Now, I can confidently say that in the IELTS listening test, you will be hearing quite a lot of British English. You're in luck because you've been listening to me for quite a long time, and I definitely do have a British English accent. But apart from me, your teacher, you can also use BBC Learning English to help you get used to the British accent. There's also some words that are only used in British English. An example of this off the top of my head would be in British English, we call it a bin, and in American English, they call it a trash can. By using BBC Learning English, you'll be able to better understand British English vocabulary, and that will definitely help you in your IELTS listening test. Now on to top tip number 3, which is to read the upcoming questions. In the IELTS listening test, you'll be prompted in the audio to read some of the upcoming questions. One common mistake that students make is not doing this and reading back the answers that they have already completed. By reading the upcoming questions, it will help you predict what you need to listen for. Once again, the audio will give you a short amount of time to pause and read the upcoming questions, and I highly advise you do this. Here is top tip number 4, which is spelling, and spelling really does count in the IELTS listening test. Be careful with your spelling when writing down your answers. Incorrect spelling will lose you marks. And finally, our last tip, which is keyword focus. If you have read the upcoming questions, you may be able to predict what you need to listen out for. Here's an example. If you know that you need to find or hear a person's address, look out for key words such as road or street in the audio you are listening to. This will give you a very strong indication that you need to write some of the information into your answer. Again, it's really important that you do read the upcoming questions. It will really help you to listen out for key words. That brings us to the end of our tips and tricks for IELTS listening. Next up, we're going to look at the question types. And after that, it's time that we begin our IELTS listening tests. See you in the next lesson.